What's good, gente? Thank you guys once again, like always, for tuning in. As you guys can see on the thumbnail and on the title, right? Barrio Mexican side Locos. Shit, it's gonna be an MSL profile pretty much. Nah, but all jokes aside, right? I'm pretty much making this video because I ended up noticing, man, that in Watson, there's only actually two Sureno hoods, and it's either Poor Side or it's MSL, homie. I know that there's other little small cliques that actually try to establish and do their thing, right? But in all reality, man, they got shut down. I ended up getting some of the facts, homie, and let's just say, man, it wasn't too nice for them. So they pretty much just fall under Poor Side, and it is what it is. But when it came to MSL, man, they ended up standing their ground, homie. And I ended up, doing a little bit of research and talking to a couple MSLers, homie, because I do know a few of them. I'm going to be quite honest, man. I done made videos about them in the past, and if you haven't heard it yet, so I don't repeat myself, man, make sure to go tune into that last video that I made. It's actually on the E.B.K family as well, so make sure to go through the videos that have been already made. So with all that being said, man, before we get started, I would highly appreciate if you hit a like, subscribe, hit that follow, hit that notification bell, just in case we go live, because I know that I haven't been going live lately, but you just never know, man. Hopefully today or maybe tomorrow, man. You just never know. Make sure to stay tuned in. So with all that being said, man, let's get right into it. So one of the big questions that I didn't have an answer to back then, and it's not that I didn't ask, it's just that the person that I was reaching out to honestly didn't know, he was someone that was a little bit younger, and he wasn't as old to be able to answer that question in all reality, right? But something about MSL is that I know they're not that old, so I wanted to know how old the hood was, and they ended up actually giving me the answer, man. So they actually been out since 1996. That's when MSL was actually created. Pretty much like any other group, a group of homies that were posting up that pretty much were from the same area that were able to relate, because in Watson, it's mostly on raza. I'm gonna be real. But when it came to like the Northerners, something that the Sureños and even some of my family members have said, man, it was that they weren't really too cool like that, man, and they used to set trip a lot, and they were pochillos way, they were pochillos or chicanos, however you want to put it, and they didn't really care too much, man, about the raza that was migrating from like down south or, from Mexico, homie. They were treating them a certain way. So out of that was another group that was created. Something that I honestly, of course, had to ask this time was, hey, bro, what's up with the whole beef? Like, how did it all start, right? So something that they ended up telling me was that when it came to Poor Side and MSL, man, they were technically cool at first. They weren't really tripping on each other. As time passed, there was something that ignited, like some type of hate. The MSLers honestly think that the hate ended up starting, or they wanted to push up on MSL because they were putting in work, homie. You know what I'm saying? They were actually getting in the paint. In other words, pretty much outshining them, And I'll remind you, when it comes to Portside, they're one of the oldest barrios in Watson way. They've been around the block, homie. You know what I'm saying? A couple of times and shit. And they with the business, homie. I never done talk bad about them or nothing like that. But when it came down to MSL, bro, like, they were doing their thing, homie. You know what I'm saying? It was something new, and they wanted to prove themselves and, like, you know what I'm saying, like, get respect from the gente. You know what I'm saying? And just let people know, like, hey, MSL is right here. We're here to stay, carnal. Which I ain't gonna lie, bro. They ended up taking a good little piece, homie. They pretty much took over whole Pajaro. And that's actually a whole little section of Watsonville that at times Watson doesn't want to claim, but it is technically Watson way. Yeah, it is what it is. But pretty much, man, MSL, like, I honestly feel, man, and this is just my opinion, man. This is not from someone that was from MSL telling me. I honestly think, just by like the conversations that I had with them, I honestly feel that if Portside was in a certain way, homie, they probably would have fell under, homie, and actually gone through, like, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, like those are the big homies or whatever, however they wanted to be looked at, I believe that they actually would have followed suit, but something that the MSLers always mention, bro. And I know that there's gonna be some poor siders that are gonna drop some comments. Hey, dale gas, homie. You know, it is what it is, but this is the rumor. I'll just say it like that, right? The poor side, at least back in those days, they were all tecatos way. A lot of the older fools, they love, you know what I mean? They love playing with the black, homie. And something about MSL was that they weren't doing that. They were trying to be a little bit more into the gang banging. And I know, drop a comment. I know there's gonna be a few of you poor siders. I'm like, nah, chales. Hey, dale gas, homie. Like I said, that's a rumor, homie. That's a rumor. Let's get back to what I was saying, man. So one of the main reasons why Porside and MSL don't get along is because pretty much Porside, man, ended up set tripping, and they pretty much try to take over MSL, man. And don't trip. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. What do you mean, Conejo? What do you mean they try to take over MSL, right? So I'm gonna say, uh we'll just do it like this. So rumor is that they pretty much had a gathering, right? And they pretty much got MSL and Portside together, where pretty much Portside, man, pretty much told MSL like either you become part of like like you get with the program, homie. Which I honestly think it was funny way they wanted, I guess, to name them. Like I said, it's rumors, homie, right? I'll say rumors because if you don't want to believe it, it is what it is, homie. It's just what I heard. Pretty much they wanted to name MSL MSP, Mexican side pobre, homie. What? Damn, they wanted to have like another chapter, homie, to the fucking pobre, you know, to the whole poor side. But one thing about like MSL, man, yeah, they weren't taking that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But Portside did tell them if they didn't like go by and become pretty much MSP, hey, they would become rivals, homie. You know what I'm saying? And automatically become an enemy. They even went to like kind of like to the point way like that they weren't gonna be Sureños, homie. You know, but you guys already know, man. It's MSL13, and I mean they are Sureños, homie. I mean we'll get into some of those details, you know. But what do you honestly think about the whole MSP, man? Would you honestly think that it would have been a good decision for Mexican side locals to become pobre? You know what I'm saying? Drop the L and add the pobre. Make sure to drop a comment and let me know what you honestly think, man. But be real, man. You know what I'm saying? What would you do, way? You know, so as we all know, pretty much MSL said F no, homie. That they're still MSL. And they are Sureños, homie. They are Sureños. And to be quite honest, when it comes to like their actual beef, I honestly don't think that they're ever gonna have actual peace between both those hoods. To be honest, there's been too many things that have happened to actually even think that that's ever gonna happen. To be quite honest, but if you want to be a believer, hey, dale gas, homie. Maybe one day they'll actually get along and join forces, homie. Puro pedo. But when it comes to out of all the groups, man, that's something that I will give to MSL, man. They're the only ones that didn't fall in line way when it came to Portside. Because I have heard about like the San Andreas Apartments, Buena Vista, Green Valley Trailer Park, you know, the ones that are behind Safeway. I think that's like actually the newest Sureño little clique that they have right now. And I know that there's another one because I believe that there was one by like the Boonies and shit. I never actually got the name of that one. But I'll eventually figure it out, and I'll give you guys an update on that. All those little areas, those are all little cliques, man, that actually try to become a hood, and pretty much got shut down. And Pobre was able to take over and actually get control, and actually pretty much recruit, you know, recruit or embrace or jump in, however you want to call it. The ones that actually had any type of influence on the rest, you know. So the rest ended up just following suit way. But when it came to MSL, shit, that shit didn't work with them, homie. But just imagine if all these other little cliques, man, would have stood their ground. Shit, I ain't gonna lie, man. There would have probably been a lot of Sureños in Watson. I honestly think that the numbers would probably be even because I believe there's like 9 actual Norteño hoods in Watsonville. And I mean, compared to the 2 that they actually have, that's not a fair one, to be quite honest. But hey, it is what it is. Every town is different. Y pues shit happens, homie, you know? But something that I know that I was wondering, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be quite a few of you that are probably wondering the same thing, especially if you're not from Watson, and you actually happen to have like MSLers in your area. MSL was created in Watsonville. You know, it's actually something that was homegrown in Watson. They are Watsoneros, but now you do see them in Gold 209, Utah, the 801. You know, even in Gilroy, bro. I mean, I'm not too sure if they're still out there because, I mean, there's been hella people that have been saying that there's no Sureños in Gilas. And to be quite honest, man, every time I go to Gilroy, I mean, I'll see one here and there, like if I go to Walmart or something like that, but you don't really see them posting up like that. And then it's looked at as a whole, like a norteño city, homie, to be quite real. But they are like in other areas, homie. They did expand. And for the ones that are probably thinking like, fool, they were never in Gilas, homie, because this is not something that actual MSLers told me. This is something that I seen personally, right? So when I was actually living in Gilroy, where your boy Conejo did stay in Gilas for a little bit, and I happened to go to a school called South Valley, and in that school, there was actually a group of Sureños, man, that would post up in front of the office, and to be quite honest, all of those fools that would post up right there, they were all from MSL, bro, and that was something that I had heard, like that's where I first heard of MSL, to be quite honest. But then going back to Watson, of course, going to EA Hall, hey, they had MSLers there too, bro. So as a youngster, I honestly thought that it was something that was pretty much in every city, bro. I was like, oh, it's maybe like the Mexican side, you know. And they don't really want to be like Sureños, like I mean, cause the ones from Gilas, they didn't really throw the 13. I would just hear them say Mexican side, you know, Mexican side locals. So hey, that's what I thought, you know, but as time passed and I ended up going back to my hometown, I ended up noticing, man, that, well, MSO was pretty thick, homie. They were pretty thick in the town. But one of the reasons was because, like, their hood, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man, it was a little bit weird, you know, because you happen to cross a certain bridge, which happens to be like, I mean, you cross a certain bridge from Watson to Pajaro, and it's technically like another little city, I guess, you know, that happens to go to Monterey County, which I never really understood that because in our reality, I mean, Watson is like literally like walking distance. Like I said, you just cross a quick little bridge, but pretty much their hood happened to be in Pajaro, which was Monterey County. But I mean, it is still part of Watson. I mean, I know sometimes I have made videos and I'm like, oh, Pajaro ain't part of the town. It's the same thing with Lomas, you know, but they consider themselves to be part of Watson. So, man, fuck it. Why not, man? We'll give them that, you know? But their hood happens to be right there pretty much in Pajaro. You can pretty much find them in Mona Lisa Street, 6th Street. And I mean, just crossing the bridge, I mean, you could tell. You know what I mean? You'll be able to tell most of those streets were that I did mention. I mean, they're gonna be dead ends, homie. I mean, Pajaro is not that big, homie. So yeah, just be aware. And for the ones that actually thought that they weren't really programming with like the actual Sur, don't get that shit twisted. When it comes to MSL, oh, they programming with the big homies, bro. And the reason how I can actually say that and I actually know is because if they weren't programming with the big homies, they wouldn't get along in the county, they wouldn't get along in prison. And I know for a fact, man, that there's certain prisons where, hey, bro, they're playing the buddy system. You already know how that shit goes. But with all that being said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little quick video, you know, on the whole MSL. I kind of figured why not, you know, make a video about it, especially since I found out that, you know, Porsche kind of wanted to take over MSL and pretty much change their name, bro. You know, I was like, damn, homie, it's like that. But I'm glad that MSO stood their ground, homie, because in all reality, if they would have just abide, I mean, we probably would have never heard of MSL. It would have probably just been Pobre, homie, or Portside for Watson, and that was it. But before we end this video, I do want to give a big shout outs to fucking Joker, Rascal, Silent. Of course, you guys have heard a couple of other names in the past, like Weddle, Casper, you know what I'm saying? Some of the older MSLers, you know, that are out there still representing MSL. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, man, make sure to hit a like for your boy, man. Make sure to subscribe, hit that follow, hit that notification bell, just in case we go live. You guys already be knowing, man. It has been a minute, but hopefully I go live today or maybe tomorrow, man. So don't miss out. Make sure to hit that notification bell. And thank you guys, man. Once again, especially if you watch the full video. I really do appreciate that. So with all that being said, it's your boy Conejo. I'll catch you guys on the next one. We out.